Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys have been following me, which I hope you have, this is part 2 of my South Africa series, and this one you don't want to miss. This episode is called Hijacked. Yes, I am not kidding you. I was hijacked in South Africa. Yes, let that sink in. Part of the reason why it's taken me this long to tell this story is because I have been through years of therapy to even make it to this point. Emotions and trauma all flood these memories. And I have to apologize in advance, because if you are sensitive to these kind of topics, I encourage you to stay and listen to my story in hopes that it helps make you stronger one day. It definitely has made me stronger. So if you were listening to my last story, South Africa, part 1, called Banned, and if you haven't, I'm going to link that above. Also, if you haven't had a second, take time right now to like and subscribe to my channel. If you are ready to listen, say here in the comments below so that I know that you're ready to go. Just right below. I'm so glad you're here though, because I definitely need the support. But let's get into the story. I had just been married. We were living in London. This happened right after I was starring in Dreamgirls at the Savoy Theatre in London. After my time, I ended up moving to South Africa to be with my husband. My boyfriend and my partner at that time is now my husband. We got married. And this is years later from the band story, but with the same person. And so I moved to South Africa to start a life with my new husband, and immediately I knew things were not okay. Everything was different. This was a very permanent marriage and a permanent situation, and the energy from my partner had completely shifted and changed. But let's be honest, I had never lived in the same space, so I wasn't sure if this was who I was dealing with or if this is what he was just going through at the time, because he had recently had a very close person pass away and it really affected him. But at this time, things between him and I just became absolutely chaotic. This is exactly what an emotional roller coaster looks like in the flesh, our relationship. On this particular night, my partner liked to drink. I was at a friend's party, her birthday party, celebrating her. And my partner decided he wanted to come and pick me up and take me home, although I had plans. In South Africa, you always have to worry about leaving and what time and everything and how you're getting somewhere and back because of safety. He didn't want me out late, but I didn't really want to be taken home by someone who had been intoxicated. I didn't feel like that was any safer than the transport I got myself into to get home. And he comes and he picks me up with his brother and demands I leave with him. I was ready to leave, but I was not interested in leaving with this person before me. He was not ready to receive me at this time based on how he was acting. I left anyway, because you have to choose what battles you are willing to fight. I was not willing to be embarrassed in front of all of these people and my peers and my friends at the time, and I'm in his land, so I didn't want to make a scene. I left, but I made it very clear I wasn't going home with him. I was going to call myself a ride, and that is how I was going to get home. And he did not like that. He demanded so many other things, and we exchanged choice words of our opinions of how things needed to go. And these conversations were getting more and more heated as our relationship grew. Not necessarily in a good way. It didn't really grow in a great way. But this is the direction we were going in, and we were going together because at this point we were now married. I decided I still don't want to cause a scene. So as we approach the vehicle that he has come to pick me up in, because we do not own a car, just so I'm clear, I look at the car. Her car. It was her car. It was his baby mama's car. My husband came to pick me up in his baby mama's car. Now, without giving you so many details, you can already see how this is absolutely a problem on 80 different levels. And he's driving around town in his baby mama's car. So, not only am I embarrassed by how you're acting, I'm embarrassed by the fact that you came to pick me up in her car. I get in the car. It is late. At this point, I would say it's around 1:32 in the morning. I had no plans of leaving this evening, so I leave with him. And him and his brother are intoxicated. They're also arguing the whole time. But for some reason, I could just tell they were arguing in their native tongue, and it was Zulu. They were arguing in Zulu, and when I picked up a few words here and there, and I realized they're arguing about me and about this situation, and his brother is upset at him. And all of a sudden, he pulls off to the side of the road and gets out of the car and demands that his brother, this is my husband, that his brother fight him in the streets of South Africa at 2 in the morning. The only odd thing is the fact that your husband is trying to fight his brother in the streets of South Africa at 2 in the morning. So we stopped on the side of the road. He's egging his brother on and on to fight him. His brother complies because he's sick of him. They start shouting at each other, and his brother starts walking in the middle of the night by himself in the street. I am already calling an Uber. I am not getting in the car with this man. I am not feeling comfortable or safe. How dare you do this? How dare you pick me up and all in her car and fight your brother in the street? And what is going on here? So I'm arguing all these things, and this whole time he's yelling at me, telling me to get in the car. And I'm just thinking he's being an asshole. But really, he's trying to protect me and my safety, because all of a sudden, a car pulls up behind us. And I'm thinking, oh, is this a friend? Is this someone we know? Is this someone they called? Did I miss something? And I immediately see him tense up and demand I get in the car. He walks up to the people who quickly hop out of the car. And what was weird is they were acting as though I was a damsel that they were trying to save. And are you okay? Is everything okay? Is he doing anything to you? That's what they said to me. But then all of a sudden, they started pulling at my fiance or at my husband and tugging at him and pulling on his clothes and ripping things here and there and punching. They started punching him, and he starts fighting back. The other one, because it's two of them, starts to come towards me. I am in the car at this point. I'm starting to hide my wallet and the keys to the car, to her car. I'm hiding all of these things so that they don't get a hold of them. And he tries to pull me out of the car. I'm clearly in an unsafe environment. He picks up a boulder. Do you hear me? A boulder. And hauls it off through the window onto my lap, which at this moment paralyzes my legs. I'm not able to move or anything. I am screaming in agony. We are now shouting for the brother to come back because he's not too far where he can't come and help us. We're screaming, please come, help us, help us. He comes running back to help his brother. And now it's two of them fighting two of them. They're fighting left and right. I'm crying. I'm screaming. I'm confused. I'm scared. What if they pull a gun out? What if they pull a knife out? What if they had a weapon? What's going to happen? And all of a sudden, he recognizes one of the guys. My husband recognizes one of the guys. They start speaking in Zulu, and he basically chased them away. I'm going to tell your auntie. I'm going to tell your mother. I'm going to tell the whole community that you tried to do this, this, and this. The guys start running away. Thank God. And then the brother and my husband get in the car as I'm crying hysterically, as I can't move, as I'm injured, as I'm unwell, as I'm traumatized, as I'm confused, as I'm lost. And he takes me back home, and he has to carry me inside just so I can make it to sit on the couch in our house. Do you know he went and drank some more? He drank more of his bottle. He apologized all night. And then the next morning, he had to go fix what he messed up. And fix it he did. He went in town. He left me crippled and at home alone, no food, no water, no nothing, to make sure he went and fixed that girl's car. Because the hijackers messed it up. But his wife couldn't even walk. That was my life. This was something that I was a part of. This is something that I got myself into. This is my husband. What am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to get out of this situation? How did I get in this situation? These are all the questions I was asking myself in that moment. I was so lost and so confused and in pain. And he left me there in that house for 12. It was more than that. It was like 14 hours. I remember, I will never forget that day. And when he came back, he was still drunk. It's like he never stopped. And that's the thing I was dealing with. I didn't want to take this anymore. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to be a part of this. I had to figure out how to get out. I didn't know how I was going to get out of this. How I was even going to get off this couch. I didn't even know how I was going to eat this evening. Because the money was dwindling. He was spending it on drinking. I was trying to do self-tapes all the way in South Africa and trying to book something and figure something out. I just didn't understand what our future was really about to be. I'm one of those women that will sometimes, and I hate to say this, and this is me being extremely transparent with you guys, I demote myself as a person to meet my love at the level that they're at, in hopes that my love and the things that I can give to a relationship will build that person up. That night, I moved to South Africa after getting married, and that night, it was an eye-opening moment that maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe this is not the life I was meant to lead. What is going on? How on earth did I end up here in South Africa, hijacked? He came back home that night. And when I say that night, it was the next night. Intoxicated, and at this point, I didn't know who to trust. But I knew I had to get out of there. This is the end of that journey for me. I am so grateful that you hung on this long to listen to this story. Please share this. And let me tell you, there is definitely a part 3. And you don't want to miss that one. Let's see, we have Banned and we have Hijacked. What could the last one possibly be? Well, you'll have to tune in to see. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.